User in your channel started recording.
Welcome to the iRacers Lounge. I'm your host, Mike Ellis. iRacers Lounge is a podcast for the iRacer where we talk all things iRacing in a casual setting. Joining me are the usual characters, Brent McCoy,
Good evening, everybody.
David Hall,
Hey guys, just for the first part of the podcast before I head off to rehearsal.
all right, and Greg Hectus,
What up, boys?
Mason Stiver,
Hey, Mike.
and Tony Groves.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Hey, welcome everybody. All right, we made it. It's another off week, or off-season week for NIS. The NASCAR racing season has been over for some time, but boy, there's a lot going on. We kicked off the season 1 of 2019 this week and finished up week 13. So let's get right into it. First of all, iRacers Lounge does sponsor the OBRL on Monday Night ARCA Series. We had 37 racers round out the entries for the Season 1 National Series, with newcomer Richard Springer capturing the pole at Darlington. Bud Claunch and Ray Caton both won the Hard Charger Award, gaining 25 spots. It looks like Texan Joel Kilburn was going to walk away with the win, but a late accident took him out of contention. 2018 iRacers Lounge champion and ARCA professional driver Kevin Pearson ended up battling Kevin Rupert for the win, with Richard Springer finishing third and Brian Class fourth. Professional podcaster Tony Groves finished 23rd, Chris Scales 28th, Greg Hectus 27th. How'd you guys do?
Okay, I'll take the. It was actually kind of a crappy race for me. I got into a wreck early on and was basically just trying to limp around and gain whatever I could. It was, we only had a week off, but it seemed kind of longer than that. It was good to get back racing with those guys. Fresh new season, and well, I found the first race to be, guys were a little bit more aggressive than what I'm used to, and on my end anyways, I didn't notice a whole lot of give and take out there on that track. And with a track like Darlington, there's got to be a lot of give and take, because there's not much room for error there.
No. Yeah, I mean, it's like going into one. You don't want to go in there side by side. I mean, somebody has to give.
Yeah, and just not seeing as much as what I'm used to. At the end, yeah, I get it for sure. Go for everything, but first 20 laps of a race. I mean, come on.
How about you, Greg? You were pretty fired up after that race.
Yeah, that's not. It was a fun race. Tony and I were around each other for a while there. We all started near the back because I don't remember. Did you and Chris not qualify for that race?
No, I qualified up in 15th.
Oh, okay. Anyways, what happened was I was pissed at myself for screwing up qualifying. Both times I touched the wall just barely to give the 0x, so it didn't count any of my laps. But in that, I know you were at race with us the night before, Mike, and I've had pretty much one of the better cars for that racetrack. Sorry about that, guys. And I was involved in some stuff in that race that I wasn't too happy about. I mean, the first accident is totally on me. I touched the wall, and the guy behind me just couldn't slow down because the momentum is broke so much in the corners if you grab that wall, and he ran into me, and it's totally on me that happened. And I had about 4 minutes worth of damage in that race, and I was trying to come back from it. I got down to I think I had 30 seconds left with what was going on in that race. I went from the back of the pack probably 4 or 5 different times up into the top 15, and the last time, I'm not going to use any names because I'm still pretty hot about it, but I'm just going to leave it. But someone broke their own rule in that race. Got loose off of turn 3, drove it down to the inside of the track, and was probably about 50 miles an hour slower. Came back up into the groove right into where I was going into my corner, and did it. I avoided them, but I went up and touched the wall, and that was it for my last X, so I got DQ'd in it, and I wasn't too happy about it. The person, didn't even acknowledge it, and it was a rough way because I was coming back for a top 10. Also, I'm trying to find Justin Laird from our team was in that race too, and I'm trying to find out where he said he finished. I'm looking
Yeah,
it
I
up right
raced.
now.
I raced that Sunday night practice race, whatever that was, and you had that thing won, and then we had stops, and the strategy didn't work out for you, but you were really hot that night. I was had a good run that night. I think I finished fifth, and that was fun. I had a good time running with those guys. They're at New Hampshire next week, so check that out.
Yeah, sorry to jump in here. I'm pretty sure Justin finished up in 11th place after all that.
Best run of the group.
Yeah, oh yeah, by far he was doing really well, and I don't even think I'm pretty sure he didn't even qualify. He was just able to keep himself out of trouble, and yeah, it was a good finish for him.
I'm just hoping that the racing was good, and I really enjoy this. It was nice to be refreshing to be with these guys, and I agree with Tony. I guess it was. I don't know what it's like beforehand, so it seemed a little aggressive, but
The tough track.
for me, it's you really can't get out of the way there. It's you're if for me, I was gaining 2 or 3 car lengths in some corners on some guys, and you really can't slow down fast enough, and it's just circumstances happen there. So, take it on. Next week we're at New Hampshire, and I can't wait because that's one of my favorite tracks.
All about braking.
I mean, going through it's the first race of the new season. Everybody's full of piss and vinegar, so I'm totally going to chalk it up to that. I mean, in between a lot of that, there was still a lot of really good racing happening. So there was a lot of positive takeaways from the night. And it certainly was no South Boston from last season. So, we're still one up on that.
And I'm gonna apologize to Tony because my car was the reason that his race was ruined. So that was my bad in that one because he got it caught up in the wreck that I pretty much caused.
I still love you, buddy.
There we go.
Canadian love.
Okay, let's get into topics. I'll take the first one. Season 1 schedule was released for the 2019 12-week Season 1, as they call it, which started this week. And they got the right times of day and the weather and that kind of thing. They also updated the special event schedule we talked about last week, but with proper times and that kind of thing. And they also reiterated the 2019 Season 1 Pro Qualifying Series has started this week. And so we got the GT Endurance Pro, the World of Outlaws Sprint Car Series, and so forth. And so, yeah, if you guys are wanting to get into that, now is the time. What did you think about the updated to the schedule? I didn't really get a chance to look at the daytime and weather stuff, but apparently they've updated it.
I haven't really had a chance to look at it yet for it either. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with that.
Well, we'll see. Yeah, so if you're interested, all that stuff has been posted this week with the updated schedules. So, all right, Brent, you're next.
iRacing went out and released a update on the Chili Bowl and the Dallara IndyCar pit stop animated pit crews that the Cup cars have. And let's start here with the animations. They said they should be released here. I'm trying to read this real quick, and it says in the coming weeks, I believe. And it also says that it's just going to be the 2018 car that just made available to us this past year. But in a short time frame after that, they're going to be releasing it on the DW12 and the IR05. It says it's not far behind. So these pit crews are going to be carrying, gas man's going to be carrying the gas nozzle, just like they do in real life. And the pit crew members, tire changers, going to be carrying the tires and the pit guns, if I'm not mistaken. There was some news put out there also about the Chili Bowl they had commented on. It says here that the Chili Bowl right now, we've got the Expo Center and all other trackside objects completed. We are in the process of implementing the track surface textures for the dirt, the berm, the fencing, and the white line. We are also working on lighting the track properly. We will be releasing both of these projects to you all in the coming weeks. We are not ready to commit to a specific date, but we can say that the Chili Bowl will be released before the race in January. So until then, here are a handful of sneak peeks. You can check those out under the forums in iRacing. That's the end quote for him. So looks like Chili Bowl definitely coming in 2019. You can use the hashtag soon for that. And while you're at it, you might as well include the IndyCar animated pit stalls in those also.
Yeah, the pictures are amazing that they put up. What my first thought is, okay, so as you're rolling into the pit lane and you're going into your box, the front right tire changer is standing in his spot, with his tire and his air gun already as you roll into the box. And can you run over him? Can you hit him? Is he invisible, like you can drive through him? What happens if you go too far through your box and those kind of things?
I'm gonna guess invisible.
Yeah.
But I know they were saying they had to work a lot on the tracking of the car, just so it's not like a regular video game where the car parks in one spot every time, since we can stop anywhere in the box.
To make the guys adjust to where you park, you mean?
Yeah.
How awesome would that be if you could punt that tire changer like you can a traffic cone?
Right.
So does
He's
this
all
mean
tumbling down the road?
this is interesting because this is another revolutionary thing that is going to set it apart, because this leaves open for, okay, now they can figure out IMSA with those sports cars and refilling, and the F1 would be an interesting pit stop to try and recreate as well down the road.
What is the guy doing at the rear of the car? Is he the air jack?
No, I'm trying to remember on the IndyCar. One of those guys will have, yeah, it'll be something they put in, but there's also an extra guy in case he stalls it to start it.
Okay, maybe he's just standing. He looks like he's just standing there at the back, and he just pushes the car off.
Yeah, I think, yeah. See, if you look in there, they've got that line. You see the line coming out of the back of the car? That's to put it up.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's what his job is.
What's really going to be interesting is they released photos of, not to come off the IndyCar, but they released photos for the Chili Bowl. And all of these photos, the lights are not turned on inside. So I'll be really curious to know what those look like with the lights turned on.
I'm sorry, but even without the lights, that is pretty much one of the nicest looking things we got.
Oh, yeah, it looks great. It really does.
I've been a racing fan for a long time, but I never realized that this track is a temporary track. That they built this each year. They haul in fresh dirt and whatnot.
So but the building's obviously always there, but what do they holes in that building? I'm not
It's
used
a
to that either.
multi-purpose building.
So it's just like, it could be like any other, they could basically hold the,
like a rodeo or
yeah.
Other stuff. But I saw pictures on Twitter this week where they were hauling clay in and putting it down on the concrete floor.
I guess it's no different than like, when monster trucks or stuff like show up to places too, right?
It's just interesting that iRacing is able to scan a temporary track. We've had other temporary tracks like Long Beach and other road street events.
Well, Belle Isle.
Belle Isle, yeah. Yeah, there's a few of them. All right, I'm going to jump on this next one. NASCAR has announced the Heat Esport League, the official esport of NASCAR. As one iRacing member put it, NASCAR goes from having the potential for the most realistic and competitive esports league with iRacing to the biggest joke in the esports business. And that's pretty much how I feel about it, too. I can't believe that they came out with this program with the consoles instead of iRacing. And so NASCAR has announced a 16-race schedule that features 32 drivers drafted from 16 actual NASCAR teams. Another driver put, "It is super unfortunate they choose this arcade game over iRacing." Ray Alfala, our champion, he jumped in and said, "As much as I'd love to see iRacing as the only focal point, this helps esports as a whole. Now, excuse me while I go order this PS4." And then finally, Tyler Hudson, we finally got an official comment from somebody at iRacing. He says, "I want to assure you guys that we have a very good relationship with NASCAR. We have been diligently working for a long time now to elevate the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing series. We have our own announcement coming during the month of December that will be very exciting and encouraging. Stay tuned." So what do you think? Did NASCAR make the wrong move by doing this heat thing?
I don't think so. I think from a business and NASCAR's investment in this, isn't heat, isn't that NASCAR's baby?
Well, everything's licensed off of it, so all the sponsors and everything go for it, right?
Yeah, so if your NASCAR is sponsoring and all the licensing, like Greg said, is going towards this heat game, they're going to first invest in this heat game. Just from a business perspective, realistically, we all know iRacing is probably better, but from a business model, it's probably best for this heat game. I would suggest giving it time. I wouldn't be surprised in a year or two if you see NASCAR switch over to iRacing.
Well, you heard what Tyler said about it
game
too.
is more accessible. Is more accessible. It's going to appeal to a younger audience. It's just to give them a chance to.
You're breaking up there, David. Can't hear you.
I think you've got to your point, David. I think
All right,
you're losing it.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm anxious to see what Tyler is going to say about what NASCAR is going to say about iRacing. I mean, what more can they do than they're already doing? I mean, if they announce the same kind of situation where these 16 NASCAR teams are going to draft 16 peak drivers and they're going to go at it or something, for a big prize, that'd be cool.
Or it'd be nice to have like the real drivers, quote unquote, own a team. I believe was Alexander Rossi has like a open wheel team.
Right.
Yeah, and Ray touched on a good point. There is no such thing as bad exposure when it comes to esports, and iRacing is a part of esports, and this will be good for iRacing in the long run.
There was a lot of forum discussion about how is this actually going to work. I mean, there's so many people that are going to be racing this heat league. Are they going to be able to pick out the actual best drivers based on the gameplay? Probably not. It's going to be more like a lottery kind of thing.
Well, the only problem I can see, like, with heat is there isn't anything into that is, you can build setups and stuff like that, but it's the people that, there isn't a sophistication level with heat, but I know what they're going for here. I really won't make an assumption on any of this stuff until we see what that other announcement is that is going to come from it, because maybe they're attacking it from both sides. We don't know that, right? Like, this could be a misstep on this side, but they go and announce, say, something with the Peak series, and all of a sudden, this won't even become a problem anymore.
Yeah, who knows? All right, very good. Let's keep moving. Mason Stiver, what's next?
Looks like we've got some exposure for iRacing here. The iRacer Matt Malone is a active streamer on Twitch, and he is going to be featured every Thursday in the month of December on Twitch's front page from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Central Time, which is currently going on right now, I believe. I clicked on the link here. It's www.twitch.tv/Matt Malone, Malone. So he does some practice sessions, some races, and he's a pretty cool guy.
I don't know anybody that has, if you guys have watched Matt, but Matt is he's a very animated driver when he's racing. He's very good at what he does in the roadside. He's a good personality to have for iRacing to give us exposure as well, because he just did that, was it the Mazda, what was the Petit Le Mans he was a spokesperson for Mazda And it's nothing but good. I watch Matt Malone anytime any chance I can get. His wife Samantha Malone has races on here as well, and he's been pumping her up too by getting her more exposure on here as well. And everybody seems to flock to them when they're in races and stuff, because I see him posting on Twitter when he's going to go racing and all that stuff. So anybody that really wants to see something that's entertaining on iRacing, Matt Malone on the roadside is really good.
Yeah, and what's neat about this is he's getting exposure from Twitch, directly, which is pumping up his viewership, and he's getting people watching him that are not in iRacing, and that's really the next level, guys. So good job, Matt. Good job on that. All right, Tony Groves, bugs. Lots of them.
Bugs. Yeah, just telling the guys before we hit the record button that it's kind of funny because we the one week they release the new build, we talk about it, and then the next week we almost have an equally as big topic on the bugs that seem to pop up. So let's get into it. The first one on our list is there's some lag getting in and out of the car, but I guess there's a workaround, and I am not on the ball enough to have the
I
link
think it's
open.
pit objects off, actually, is the workaround.
Well,
And
do you read that thing from David Tucker here on that post? He says it's got to do with when you're going from your settings that you are in it's the difference between what your replay settings are and your actual driving graphics settings can be sometimes. And I've had this issue where it's kicked me completely out of the sim once doing this. So it's something that they're working on.
Oh, and he's saying make your settings match between replay and regular sim graphics.
yeah, it looks like this guy has pit objects off, event off, grandstands off, crowds off, and objects off.
Turn it all off.
If
yeah.
he's turning that all off, then maybe there's maybe that's graphics related too, right?
Yeah, who knows with that.
Yeah, I will say it's not every time though either that this happens, because there's been some. I feel like over the past week, since these couple hot fixes have come out, that it has gotten better. So
Yeah, the next one we got here is no stadium lights at this track. I gotta open these links. Terrible. Bristol. There's no stadium lights, and I guess it seems to be at all the tracks that previously had lights.
Yeah, it's just to choose that setting. It looks like that's the beta UI.
Oh, so it's a beta UI specific bug, maybe? Which, there seems to be a rash of those.
and this isn't the only track where this is an issue. At Auto Club, there was an issue, and this is gonna get fixed. This isn't that important. So
Well, they got tracks
this will get fixed.
they got tracks that on here that haven't got lights added to them that are actually have lights, right? Like we found that out with Darlington doesn't have any lights. Martinsville has lights now, but they don't have it in the sim.
So it says here Steven responded back saying that he's identified the issue and will deploying a fix soon. This was posted on the 7th of December, so maybe that's what this this fix that
Yeah,
came
we've
out
had a
days
hot
ago.
spot, a hot fix come out, so we'll talk about that later. Tony, let's keep going through these. Just rip them off quick.
Okay, so there's an automatic pit limiter in the Skip Barber that's auto. It's just on, and I guess you don't have a.
You don't have an option, yeah.
Yeah, you can't turn it off. There's also the pit limiter for the Cup car. Notice that one too at the Roval. We got something odd happening at the Tsukuba at Sunset. Some track objects are disappearing.
Oh, this one is interesting. Let's talk about this. So there's a video posted by the user or by the driver, and as you play the YouTube video and you look at the wall in the background, it's like at 1 second it's one color, and then another moment it's a different color. And
yeah, it
it's
goes like a wooden color.
Yeah, to like a blank or something.
Might be tire barriers.
But anyway, that was kind of an issue, and I don't know what, I think that's obviously on, they're talking about it.
It's the new chameleon walls.
I'll pick up these other ones. A bunch of ones about headlights, and they basically said, yeah, all the headlights need help. They don't reach out far enough, or there's issues with them at night, and now that a lot of people are trying the night tracks,
It's a work in progress.
What about the floating flowers at the Roval? Did anybody see these? As you enter the final chicane, they're floating up to the right.
Yeah, I didn't know if those were actually floating or if those were actually meant to be there, but yeah, I saw those.
Pretty sure I was just trying not to wreck.
I'm in the same boat as Mason. I didn't notice that at all.
There's too much. You don't want to hit those tires. So yeah, I would say I was paying attention too.
Yeah, and there's also a picture of one on pit lane, apparently. I don't think I saw that one either, but I'm not sure I even pitted when I ran the Roval, because it was running a bunch of short races there. Okay, what else was there? There was, if you launched from the beta, some cars would load up and be all blue, like the entire thing is blue. The windows, the car, the tire, everything just the same color. Or black. And then you would look at your pit crew, and they were all black, like they were dumped in tar. Like black, black, black. Like no colors on them at all. And it was some very odd pictures to see those.
I'd seen this before, like a couple months back. I don't believe it wasn't my car, but it was other people's car, and it was just kind of random. I'd see them black. They had all the Goodyear and all the sponsorship stickers, but the rest of the car was pure black.
That's nuts.
And the next one was very interesting too, because this one was this guy Liam O'Neill from the UK. He did this in-depth study on the new car, the F3. That just came out, and he basically documented through telemetry and different things this bug, and iRacing did come out and say it's a known issue. The bug, well, when you put more downforce on the car, you actually get less grip. So tell me how that works.
Is that like how they half the tire and it goes faster?
It's broken. They did acknowledge it's broken, and they're working on it. But as you tweak the wing or whatever it is you can to adjust the downforce, it was actually creating, the times wouldn't go the way that you would expect them to go. And so there was a lot of discussion about that as well. That final part of that was the sound issue continues. If you're having stutters or that kind of thing, go into sound options and don't let it say default. Pick your actual sound item, your sound card or your headset or whatever it is. Don't let it be on system default. So that is also still something that's going on.
Yeah, and hopping back to the Roval for a quick second. This was in the forum post with the floating flowers. I guess people are using NASCAR turns 1, 2, 3, or 4 to gain time below the apron or below the white line. And this is a direct quote from the staff member saying that if you do that, violating this can lead to a loss in account privileges or a temporary account suspension.
Yikes. All right, Brett McCoy, next topic.
The bug fix is correct.
Hot fix, yeah.
All right, hot fix number 2 came out on the 11th, I think it was, of December. And there's been a staff update here listing a bunch. We got several here to the beta UI interface. Nothing all too drastic. Dynamic sky slightly boosted the minimum lightness of the sky and clouds. The sky is no longer forced the redraw when switching cameras. What else we got here? Time trial fixing the issue that was causing all time trial sessions to have moving sun and clouds. There's been new sponsors added to the paint kit.
They got the F3 fix in there that I just talked about.
Yeah, they made some adjustments here to the controls. Fixed a corruption issue with the controls configuration file that would cause some controls to fail. Not sure what that means to the majority of us here. Some time of day telemetry issues that were also fixed. There's several here on the cars. Mike, did you have a chance to read these on the cars?
Well, yeah, the F3 was the big one, that we talked about. The other ones are all fairly minor, but they fixed that floating stuff at Charlotte Motor Speedway. They adjusted the lighting a little bit at Le Mans.
I like the term unburied campers located on the hill outside of Oval Turn 2 at Charlotte.
Were they halfway into the dirt? We missed that one.
I guess.
Yeah, here's one that I just saw interesting for us oval guys that don't do a whole lot of racing. At Sonoma Raceway, it says here, if new race lines have been applied to this track's configuration, are they talking about the guide, the race line guide? Or are they talking about paint on the racetrack?
I'm guessing it's probably new lines because of the configuration that it's going to have to go to for next year's race.
Okay. Gotcha, that makes sense. And yeah, other than that, there really wasn't a whole list of major issues.
So NASCAR's adding the drag strip part back to the NASCAR race?
Yes, they are, yeah.
You see what's missing from this, though? The skippy.
New. I gotcha.
Yeah, they didn't fix the pit limiter. Well, at least it doesn't say they did. They might.
I'll tell you what. I drove the Skippy earlier this week, and there was no automatic pit limiter that was on. So I don't know where that's coming from.
Does everybody like the last one? Pit stall number 20 is no longer located on staircase.
What?
All right, Greg, what's next?
Let me just open the link here. Okay, new road car is in early stages. So with staff member Tony Gardner, we've decided to go with the TCR car, given our options. We are working with the team. Data is currently being gathered and working on a license. Now, what's the TCR series?
Well,
let's see what it
cool.
is. Let's
it's
bring it up.
It's a rear-wheel car.
Bring it up here.
And they have a series. The website is tcr-series.com. And a lot of people on the forums have been waiting a long time for this kind of car.
Okay, so now I know what it is. I've watched these on YouTube a lot. These cars this is a very competitive racing with good brands of cars too. Like they got Volkswagens, Hondas. I think there's also I think there's like a Citroens or something involved in too.
Yeah, there's several of them. So he doesn't say which one he has. They're doing one of them.
It'd be nice if they get to a point where they can do all of them. See, I think that's what's missing, right? Is where they need to start filling these series with the right car amounts. Like even if you got we were just talking last night about the V8 series for the supercars, and they only have the Holden, right?
The other thing that was discussed was this might lead to different tracks that we're going to get because they run at tracks that we don't have, like China at Guangdong and Dubai and Sepang.
Don't they do some of the what is it? They do some like street circuits too, don't they?
Yeah, well, I think they do street circuits, especially in the Australian market, if I looked at it right.
That's cool.
So I guess there's also, and when they're talking about the TCR cars, there's some talk, a series about the actual the DW. What is it? DW. Sorry, the link's not opening up here, but anyways, another series, special events here in iRacing to fill up the remaining holes of global motorsports discipline. So they're talking about the German cars higher up, right? Like the Mercedes and BMWs and Audis that fight each other. I'm trying to think of the name of that series.
Well, no, I think that what this iRacing member is saying is this is one of the guys that's very, very happy with this change. And his, main comment was, wow, this really fills a hole that that is, one of the few holes left in iRacing as far as covering all of global motorsports disciplines. And having these these rear wheel cars really fills a hole that was kind of missing. So that's what he's saying. Because we haven't had any kind of racing like this for quite some time. He's saying he's been waiting for it for all 10 years that he's been on the service, and he's really happy to see it here. So that comment was from Jamie Wilson, who's part of Team Chimera. Okay, let's keep moving. Mason Stiver, Christmas time is upgrade time.
Yep, we got a post here about the new build and how it's affecting older computers. So most older computer systems are having a very difficult time handling the day-night sky and all the new lighting effects and whatnot, and it's just killing frame rates. I know I've lost some, and I'm running a 1070 Ti, so I can't imagine what anyone with an NVIDIA 3-digit card number would be going through. There's a lot of people saying that they're watching a frame-by-frame slideshow sometimes, and even staff member Nicholas Bailey posted up that he typically watches the first 20 minutes of special events on his laptop while keeping an eye on the infrastructure. And he's already had to jack all his settings to the lowest possible. So it's really killing these older systems, but it is time to upgrade. So it's Christmas time. Get your deals while you can.
Yeah, Mason, you said you had an issue with yours, correct? I'm sorry, I just caught the end of that.
Yeah, I mean, not really an issue. It's just I've noticed that it's been taking up more of the frames per second.
Okay, have you done a graphics reconfig yet?
I have not.
Okay, I would. My suggestion to people is do that graphics reconfiguration, because I was having a similar issue early on, and then I did a graphics reconfiguration immediately, and now everything is a lot smoother, and I'm actually averaging about probably 50 frames more with more things maxed out. So I'm not saying that's going to solve the issue, but it's an option to try.
And that's on the iRacing configuration?
Yeah, on the iRacing configuration, yep.
Yeah, I mean, I have everything maxed out, but it's just, like I said, it's pulling a little bit more, so I'll try that.
Yeah, be curious to see what it changes, what it turns off, that kind of thing. Yeah, there's a lot of people with older systems that were posting on the forums. Yeah, they're having troubles, and if you're running a laptop or a system that's 4 or 5 years old, yeah, you might be running into trouble. I mean, that's pretty much why I built a computer. I could almost feel it coming, and I did it before it happened, and so or as it was happening. My frames were getting pretty bad, and I had pretty much everything turned off, and so I knew it was time. So that's why I did it.
Yeah, we have the new damage model that's coming out here in the next year that we're anticipating. The new tire model, hopefully. We're getting to the point where these older, lower-end graphics cards aren't going to work at all anymore. And with the new improvements that iRacing has made day-night throughout the next couple of years is only going to get better for each track. And you're going to need that higher performing system as we go on.
Well, if you look at anything in the computer, PC gaming-wise, older graphics cards aren't going to hold up to anything nowadays anyways, because everything's gone crazy graphics-wise.
There are a lot of people asking iRacing if they still have to optimize some of these things versus, just rolling out new features.
Good point. I mean, and they said day-night wouldn't really tax the frames per second, and it seems like a mixed bag if people are being affected or not. I haven't seen any consistency to that.
It's hard to make that statement when everybody has so many different. Like it'd be one thing to say it if you're bringing it out on a console or something like that. It's set for that because that's all that has. But everybody has, a Frankenstein systems, and you can't really guarantee that that's not going to change anything.
All right, food for thought. Tony Groves, this is a hammer topic.
Yeah, it's about the tire model track temp adjustments. So this first part here, the DKTM 6.1, that's got to be our current tire model that just rolled out.
That's what he called it, yeah.
Okay, we'll go with that. That sounds pretty good. That's, I guess, 50% reduction in heat. And it says, it seems like a good adjustment so far. Can really lean on people in NASCAR. Previously, you couldn't hardly touch a guy and they'd be wrecked. We've actually been practicing with a lot of contact to see how much grip there is. The yaw rates and slip angles in Motec aren't lying. You can definitely make a lot more contact in upcoming Season 1. Not exactly sure how this will play out in servers, except there should be an ability to make a lot more contact and generate less cautions. That sounds pretty darn positive. What do you guys think?
Less likely to wreck. I think that'll be good for me. So
Yeah,
he's basically saying more grip, so you're less likely to wreck.
Oh, whenever your rear tires are jacked off the ground, you're going to wreck either way, I think.
And when
Well, have you guys?
Go ahead, Tony.
Have you guys been able to jump into a race using this new update?
I have actually. Now that we're talking about it, it kind of rings a bell. Earlier today, I did run a C fixed at Talladega, and was ran in top 5 all day, and I finished 5th. But there were several times when there was a big wreck, and I was bouncing off people next to me, kind of thing, and I was able to hold it when probably in the past I probably couldn't have. And I was able to save the truck. And so, yes, I actually have experienced this.
Well, that's good, because I know there's been times where I've kind of been in a similar situation where you just, it almost feels like you just tap a guy and you or him all of a sudden just start sliding out of control.
Yeah, and so what Hammer is saying is that is not as much now with this new tire model where they reduce the heat by 50%. So, and I have to agree with him. I mean, now that he points it out.
Well, that's really good. I hope it really shows through, like when we get into the new NIS season and
less cautions, maybe.
Well, yeah, I mean that'd be good. I mean, us guys down in the bottom split are really going to test this theory to see how well it is.
I don't think it matters what split. They're all going to test it.
All right, I'm going to take the next topic. This is probably the big topic of the week. Rest in peace, iRacer David Cater. David Cater has passed away suddenly. I don't think that was expected. And he has had a big impact on the iRacing community. He has been around from the beginning, I believe. He is a setup guru, and a lot of people have learned how to do setups from him. In fact, it was just a few years ago, he did a nice video series with Ray Alfala while they were at the some kind of a sim event in Dallas, and posted videos on how to do setups and stuff. And he was also doing the setups for some peak drivers early on in the early part of peak. He was also doing the fixed setups for the NASCAR cars for iRacing for several years as well, I understand. And so there was a lot of outpouring from the community about David and what he's meant to everybody. I mean, did you guys see all this stuff?
Yeah, there's a lot out there. There's a nice little video that I saw that someone, I believe it was iRacing that posted that video, actually, now that I think about it. iRacing posted a pretty nice Alan Kwiecki with the driving backwards on the track.
Yeah, Polish victory lap.
Yeah, Polish victory lap that he did right there. They did that. They're at a short track in the sunset, so that's pretty cool. There's also a couple GoFundMe out there. And yeah, I had the opportunity to not meet him, but to check out one of his demonstrations that he did once, and pretty decent guy. I know he's helped me a lot with my setup building, and I know there's a long way for me to go, but everything I learned, base knowledge, I learned from his videos with Ray Alfala and all that.
Yeah, and the video that you mentioned, boy, it's very touching. It's it doesn't show him his face or anything, but it shows, you know, like you said, the Polish victory lap of his car making that final lap, and
Myrtle Beach.
yeah, and then it also shows a you know, three-wide tribute with his car leading the pack around the track, so to speak, and they all have tribute paint jobs, the entire field. And boy, you know, this is the first time I've seen iRacing actually acknowledge publicly, you know, the death of an iRacing member like this. But he has been around a long time and certainly an important part of the community.
Yeah, for sure. I do remember watching that video with him and Ray as well. And looks like they have a sticker to put on the cars in memory of David Cater there. And also they're going to do a race.
Yeah, Memorial Race has already been announced. It's next December 19th, next Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern. When I looked yesterday, 24 hours ago, there were already 37 people registered, so it's probably full by now.
Yep, there's currently 48 with funds raising $548. I signed up and paid my $10 to go race. It's Chicagoland next week with the last setup that he was working on as the fixed setup.
Yeah, and then we also heard that he did pass away from a seizure of his heart, and he has no life insurance due to his previous health problems. And family is asking for money to help bury him, actually. So they do have a GoFundMe. If you search the word David Cater Funeral, you will find it at GoFundMe.com. And they've already raised $2,528 of their $10,000 goal there. So go help them out, guys, and show them what the community is all about.
In 3 days.
Yeah.
They've done that. Now, because I used to race with David Cater a lot back in the day when he was one of the originals at the same time I was, and he was a big part of the inaugural seasons of, you know, the Peak Series and all that, working with guys. And my memory with David was he always was in a practice session on Sunday and Mondays, if I remember correctly, and he was always there to work with you if you needed something. He would be in there practicing for himself, but if you go, hey David, you know, I'm feeling this. What do you think? He was always there to offer you something. So, you know, he's going to be missed, and you know, I think there's a lot of people here that are better for knowing him, and we appreciate having somebody around like that.
You know, that story, Greg, you just told is what a lot of people said in the 11 pages of the forum post about this. Said the same thing. Hey, I ran into him in practice. I needed help. He helped me out. And a lot, I mean, I swear hundreds of posts that said that. And I'm not joking either. So I also have raced with him before, and even recently this year. So he did run NIS quite a bit. His iRating was similar to where I was in some cases. I would get in the same split with him. He was always someone I would look at as a mark, as, you know, to compare to how am I running compared to David Cater, because he is the man. So, man, it's a tough to hear that. If you want that memorial sticker, you can find that on the forums. To search the word David Cater, it'll come up.
I'm gonna put it on my car this week.
Yeah, and pretty cool. I mean, one post said, "Hey, we should have a iRacing Hall of Fame, and maybe this should be our first inductee." Kind of a neat idea.
It would be interesting to see what he has had a huge, you know, seeing the Facebook alone could blow up the way it did after hearing all this. And when you guys first posted it, I was like, this can't be.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people who, did social media posts, like you said, Facebook. It was all over all the iRacing groups. It's all over the forums. A lot of people were taking a moment to pay their respects. All right, well, let's keep going. Brent, you got the next one.
iRacing went out and released their top 10 November 2018 videos. Again, like the standard that iRacing has set, they have done some fabulous video editing. The sound quality is great. The camera angles are fabulous. There's some interesting battles that go on in this race. There's plenty of dirt. There's some plenty of oval. There's plenty of roadside. There's a battle. Not gonna spoil it for you, but there's a battle in here where an individual passes someone on the track, thinking it's the last lap. Turns out it wasn't, and the leader goes on to win again. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. So if you got some time, check it out at iRacing.com. They're over there on the YouTube page for iRacing.
There's kind of a theme in this one. I think the theme is close finishes, or photo finishes, so to speak.
Yeah, those aren't even photos finishes. They're like identical finishes.
Right.
Yeah, you talking about the one with the sprint cars? I think it is. With
There's a bunch of them that are like that. I think there were 8 out of 10 of them were the photo finish style.
Yeah, they start with this wreck, the Class C fixed, and you think, oh, it's not going to get any better than that. And that's number 10.
Right. I love watching these things. I mean, it's really entertaining the way the editing. I mean, they go to slow motion, and at one point they flash in for a second, that guy in the crowd who's got his arms pumped up in the air, to make it, look cool.
Really advocating that new crowd control model.
Love these videos. Keep them coming. Apparently, you get credits if you participate and they actually use your footage. They do award credits for this.
Did you see the one of the guy that drifted completely around turn 3 and 4 at Homestead? He must have gone down pit road after that, because that wouldn't have had anything left after that.
Yeah, I can't say enough about this video. I'm excited about it, and there's some good content that they found up there, so kudos to the iRacing community.
Yeah, and it really highlights some great racing and some cool cars, and love it. Okay, Greg, you're next.
Porsche Sim Racing here. Hold on, let me bring it up here.
It's Porsche.
Porsche. Sorry.
It's the Sim Racing Summit. It's
Sim Racing Summit
this weekend.
So it's happening this weekend, like I said. There's they're promoting it on Twitter here, with all the times, I guess, here.
Well, everybody who made it, we got a list.
And
they're all headed to Germany. I think a lot of them were flying out today. Actually.
What was the amount again? How many was it that were invited out?
20?
I think it was 20. Yeah. So it's just people posting on Twitter that they're thrilled, can't wait. So Steve Myers, here I come to Germany, who's coming to the Porsche race event in Leipzig this weekend, is posted.
Yeah, you can get tickets and go and watch. Tickets are available on Eventbrite. And Sage Karam, we talked about him last week. He made it. He's the former IndyCar driver, and he's headed to Germany. I said, I can't wait. So pretty cool. I mean, it went quick. I mean, the qualifying for this opened like last week, I think, or the week before. And here it is on us. So we'll by next podcast it'll be over, and we'll figure out who won the $30,000 is what's up for stake, I think.
That'll be interesting to see how it goes. Is it broadcasted too?
I haven't heard about that, but I'm sure we'll see over the weekend. It'll be put on social media if it is. With iRacing going over there, I know Kevin Bobbitt and Steve Myers are going. Probably would be my guess. All right, Mason, what's next?
All right, we got iRacing tweeted a picture out of Ray Alfala at Homestead under the lights, laying on the track behind his 4 championship trophies, and they say, "You're racing in NIS, and this guy joins your session. What do you do?" And to that, Noah Gregson responded, and I quote, "Noah Gregson has disconnected from the server." We had several people posting up funny things. So what would you guys do if Ray Alpha joined your server?
Boy, I would say I'm fighting for second, is what I would say. Well, yeah, some of the replies were funny. One guy posted that GIF of, Homer Simpson that backs up into the hedges to hide, and that was a perfect one. That made me laugh.
Bobby Zelensky posted up one of Ray wrecking him, I think, at
Yeah,
Richmond.
yeah, funny.
Also, we got Noah Gregson on his Snapchat. He has a short little video here of him trying out the trophy truck, the new, or not trophy truck, yeah, trophy truck that they're working on. So that looks like a blast going in the dirt there and taking the jumps. So he's.
Now, sorry, Mason, but did you notice they had a little bit more background on this video?
I did, yes, yeah. They're starting to fill in some of the outsides there, and then you can see they go to the outside view of the truck. So that's really cool. You can see the suspension going up and down and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Then
I want to say it's Phil would say it's not a trophy truck, it's a super truck or something like that. But technically, yeah, I don't think it's a trophy truck, but it's similar to that.
Yeah. Then we got more Noah Gregson at the Chili Bowl. He's driving around on there in the midget and looking for some practice.
Is he running? I don't know. He might be.
Do you guys think they're going to, and I'm just looking at this, and we brought this up earlier about the lights here at the Chili Bowl. After looking at this video, it almost looks like there doesn't need to be any lights on. Do you think they're going to add those lights in there?
Oh, yeah.
They probably are going to have the lights because they probably have some color textures to make it brighter right now until they figure out all the shadowing.
Well, if you look at the video, it is daytime. There's a lot of windows. There's a lot of light coming like through those windows. So if you're running at night, it's going to look different, I think. It's going to be darker and you will want lights. And then back to that trophy truck track, whatever track that is. Man, you know what I love about seeing this track is the elevation changes are extreme, dude.
Oh, that's
Up and
true.
down.
And it's weird because they don't have any not a lot of objects around the outside, so you notice it a little bit more because you kind of miss what's missing in the middle, right?
Well, yeah, you see these roads going up into the sky and all this stuff. Yeah, it looks weird.
Better buckle up for that one.
I want to know how they're gonna do the incidents and that, because those trucks are. It's going to be, those kind of series, they beat around on each other a lot.
Oh, yeah. That's a part of it, right? Yeah, that track is cool. I'm really looking forward to those trucks. I think that's going to be the next big thing for me on iRacing. Well, besides AI, I'm really looking forward to AI. There's one more, Mason, another Twitter that's sort of related to Chili Bowl.
Yeah, it looks like Keith Coons tweeted that he drug out the iRacing midget from Christopher Bell Racing, and Christopher Bell retweeted him and said it's the most wonderful time of the year.
And it's got that beautiful iRacing paint job on it. Man, I love that. Red, white, and blue.
Yes, sir.
And so I presume iRacing is sponsoring him for the Chili Bowl this year. So I hope that continues. All right, Tony Groves, you're next.
Yeah, this next one's pretty cool. It's about Alex Bergeron. We've talked about him lots in the past. Everybody
He's
knows
like the
who he
best
is.
dirt car driver on the planet.
Yeah. Well, was it last year sometime? They flew him out to Alberta to actually get in one of these cars, and well, he impressed some people. Well, this coming up year, Gulick, Gulick. Man, I didn't even get his first name.
Coleman. Gulick.
Thank you. Well, I guess he's going to step out of his family-owned number 14 Scorpion Security Products sprint car for a handful of races next season, and let fellow Canadian Alex get behind the wheel. And it's basically given him his first true taste of racing outside the simulator. This could be this is definitely a big step for him, and it could really pave the way in a real life racing career for this young fella.
Yeah, pretty cool, man. He's only 18.
And all you need is a shot, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and so he's putting him in the car for an actual race or so, and what an opportunity. He's not bringing sponsorship, and so he's getting it based on talent alone. That is cool.
And this is a 360 sprint car. He ran the 305 before, so he's saying it's going to be a little bit more of a challenge.
Yeah, and he's been winning everything in iRacing on dirt, as you all know. I think he's one of the top ranked dirt iRacers on the sim. So congratulations, Alex. Go get him, man. Go impress him. All right, Brent, you got another Hammer story.
Yeah, John Hammer on the 10th of December went and posted a forum post over a 3-year period of the Gen 6 NIS Open stats. There's a couple things I took away from this after just briefly reading it. The first is the incidents per race per person, the average incident. 2016 it was 5.9, in 2018 it was 7 incidents, almost a full incident more the average person averages per race. Let me go through down here and continue.
Well, participants was one that I liked. I was kind of surprised by that. 2017 was a higher year than 2018.
Yeah, and maybe, well, I guess this is all NIS, so I guess I can't really count for the dirt being a part of that. So what also caught my attention is the average amount of races won. 2016 it was 8.2, and I'm assuming when he says this, he means average amount of races run per week. Is that your guys' understanding?
I think so.
Okay, so they're saying here the stats show that Hammer has is 8.2. 2018, the average was 6.5. So you've got people running less races throughout the week, but averaging more incident points. So maybe there's a correlation there. And then total participants with 5 or more starts. 2018, there was 872 individuals. 2016, 1,017.
Wow.
How many NIS races are there a week? Is there even enough to be 8?
All of them, it adds up to 8, yeah.
So what was
You
it
got
the
2
season
on
before?
Saturday, 2 on Sunday, that's 4. Then you got Wednesday, there's 2, and Thursday, there's 2, and then Friday, there's 1.
So there's 9.
9.
So the other seasons, people were participating almost. That doesn't make sense. I'm guessing that's
Seems like a flawed number.
No, I'm thinking that average amount of races run is through the total of the whole thing. So of the 36 races, 6.5 was the average of how many races were totally run.
Right, because a big chunk of the NIS are people that do the Daytona 500, and then we don't see them again. Or that kind of thing.
So another thing here that's really caught my attention and has me thinking is the race winners. So of the total winners, 326 in 2018, race winners, their incidents per person per race, 2016 is 5.2, 2018 is 6.1, which correlates with the increase that we saw overall throughout the year. Race winners average quantity of races won. The average person in 2018 runs 21. Now here, and this is something I've been contemplating lately, is the race winner's average starting position in 2018 was starting P13. So at the beginning of the race. The race winner's average finishing position in 2018 was P14.
You know, if I look at my stats compared to that, those are exactly the 2 stats I have, though. Like I have my average starting position is usually 13th, and then my average finishing position for the year is like 14th. Not that I'm a winner or anything, but I'm just saying it's right around where your average is always around the middle of the field.
So here's a question for you guys. What do you think is more important to you in the iRacing, more telling of a driver and how they do? Is it wins or is it their average finish?
Wins.
It could be wins and top fives, and I would put top fives and average finish as a thing for me.
Yeah, I mean, because I guess who's a better race car driver, an individual who has 5 wins throughout the year, or an individual who averages a finish in the top 10? I think clearly it's pretty hard to get that top 15, average finish.
Well, okay, here's a way to look at it too. Okay, say like Mike, you used to race a lot, right? Say Mike has an average finish, or Mike races 10 times a week, and he has an average finish for that week of say 8th or 9th. And someone like me who races twice a week and has an average finish of say 5th or 6th because I'd only got 2 finishes. Who is the better? You can't tell who's a better driver off of that because they're not equal stats, right? Like I would go by average finish because that's telling of the amount you race, because someone that races 1,000 races in a year compared to someone that races 200 isn't the same type of thing, right? If you win like 50% of them, yeah, you're a better driver, but I would go by average finish.
Well, you got 36 weeks, and not everybody's running those. So, yeah, that definitely confounds kind of these numbers. But
so, what about the average starting position as it relates to the average finishing position? Does that surprise you at all?
Are you saying for the average finishing position?
For the race winners?
For the race winners?
Yeah, I would expect it to be higher, actually.
That seems kind of odd, doesn't it, to have. But you know what, Mike? That kind of does make sense with obviously how many accidents and things there are too, right? Like you'll win one and then you'll finish. One you win and one you don't, right? Like so if you win one race and you finish 27th in a race, where's your average, right?
Right.
So does this kind of just throw out the adage that you need to qualify every race to get towards that front to finish well? Does that kind of throw that out the window?
Yeah, I don't know. I think Hammer would just say, it's raw data. You figure it out.
Yeah, and one last point here that he makes, it says, should be noted that 2018 is the only year of the 3 that NIS has been running to have VRS sets available and other free setups. And he's been told by countless people he would not participate if it wasn't for these setups. So he thinks that the 2018 participation numbers are actually inflated because we know that having access to VRS and volunteer setups is validated from experience on the roadside.
Yeah, perhaps.
It's it's easy to say that.
As well, though, like they changed the cars before the start of the season or just after the start of the season, and the cars became a lot harder to drive. There was a lot less grip out there, and I got to imagine if you don't have a setup, that just like makes it even worse.
Yeah, I think it was about a third of the way through the year this year is when that new Chevy dropped.
Well, and also, if you really want to have some data too, take this data here with the open and compare it to the fixed and see what the differences are. If the participation is the same, setup doesn't make a difference.
All right, let's keep moving. I'll get the next one. Matthew DiBenedetto, NASCAR Cup star, did join the Joe Gibbs Racing Off-Series season league, and we've been seeing posts on social media. I do follow Matt on social media, and he was talking about joining the race. And there was an article from NASCAR.com about that event, and where he had posted up that he got caught up in the crash one lap. And so even if you're a real NASCAR racer, sometimes you can't avoid the big one. All right, let's keep moving. Greg Hectus, Rookie Dirt Road.
So it looks like, we've been talking about this for a while, that it's still got an 8-minute qualifying, and I don't know, what did we talked to Phil about this. He said, what, 5 minutes?
We need it to be 5 or less.
Five
It's
or less, and they
ridiculous.
still have it at 8, and they haven't changed that. And if I remember correctly, didn't they, was it Tyler Hudson that came, or didn't he say the one time that you couldn't change it mid-season, you'd have to change it when something starts? So wouldn't this have been the good time to have changed it?
Yep. And now we're stuck with it for at least another 12 weeks. And I thought we'd just point that out again because I do run those events sometimes. And it's just ridiculous because you're done qualifying in like 3 minutes tops. And so then you have to sit there for another, 5 minutes. It's just stupid. All right, let's keep moving. Mason Stiver.
Yep, we got a topic here. Someone posted saying iRacing should remove DPs from IMSA, the Daytona prototypes. They put up a poll, and the current results are yes, they should remove it, 37%. No, they should remove it. They should not remove it, 63%. People are saying they should remove it because they are saying that lower I rating drivers are jumping in it just to get in the top split, and possibly be broadcasted and all that uh, stuff that goes along with it. So I know our road racing guy is not here, but I'm sure you guys have opinions on it.
Well, that's one of the cars that I run, and I think the problem with that is the 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 fields are too close. Like the Daytona prototype should be, I don't know, I'm not the expert on it, but I believe they should be a lot faster than around this tracks than those GT cars. You shouldn't be fighting the GT cars as much as you are in that race. If you're slower, they're still way too close.
Yeah, I've experienced this. When I was running Daytona 2 weeks ago, I was in the DP, and I suck, and there were GT cars with good drivers in them that were faster than me, and I was getting bypassed by those cars because I suck. And that's what they're talking about. My take on this is we need to do what the real IMSA is doing. Are there DPs in IMSA? Yes or no?
Well, I don't know if just before the other thing here, Kyle Hare later on in the post there, he brought out a good point. He said that he's got 5 points here. So the DP is out of date. DP is incredibly difficult to be fast in. The class difference is at most 4 seconds different at tracks, which it should be, or it needs to be, and relatively low skilled drivers in the DP is what they were complaining about, right? And the way the split system works. Now that's the problem right there, is the split system, because this even happens in like when you do Le Mans. Like if all the prototypes get moved, the top class gets moved always up to the top. Like they don't get spread out between the splits. Because if you remember, if I remember correctly, since the last one that I was in, but the 24 hours of Le Mans, I want to say the last 5 of the 11 splits were all just GT cars.
Right, because more people run GT, and so that's how it works out. I don't know what the answer is. I'm not a road guy to really weigh in on it, but
Yeah, they definitely don't look the same, but they do still have Daytona prototype. It's called DPI, Daytona Prototype International. They also do have the Le Mans prototype 2 running.
okay, I'm gonna take the next one. Brian Wertman, who is an iRacer, and he also works on Morgan Shepherd's NASCAR crew, his road crew. And he's been in NASCAR a few years. He used to be a NASCAR official. Anyway, he's running that Joe Gibbs Racing League that we spoke about. Brian posted up on Facebook a really nice little nugget of knowledge. He came together with a list of the tracks that have no lights in iRacing but do have lights in real life. And that list is Atlanta, Chicago, Darlington, Homestead, Vegas, Martinsville, Texas. And so iRacing's got some work to do to finish that off, right?
And probably what's going to happen is the first part of the season, you're not going to have the lights for these races that need them, and then probably maybe near the end of the season, you might.
Now, does it involve a rescanning to be able to do lights? Like, for example, Martinsville. I mean, we know that the Martinsville scan was a long time ago, and that Martinsville recently added lights, I think maybe a year and a half ago, well after the scan. So does it mean we have to go back and rescan, or can iRacing just fudge those in?
I believe those would be just a visual thing, would they not? They would maybe have to go out and maybe take pictures of the angle of the lights, but that might be the extent of it.
Yeah, I mean, they need to rescan Texas anyway.
That's true.
Well, have we ever known of iRacing to scan a track at night? Because they post a lot of when they're scanning stuff. I mean, have we ever noticed anything from Twitter or anything like that?
Well, we don't know how
Usually
long
all
it takes them to
during
do
the
it,
day.
right? We don't know how long it takes them to do it, though, either.
So, yeah, so that would be good if they could get on that and get that fixed.
I mean, if there's any East Coast tracks on there, obviously, like Martinsville is going to be snow covered in the winter, so they'll do that one.
Well, and these ones, from that schedule change, those dates, some of those start times will push some of these races into light nights this year that they never used to be. Because I think the Martinsville race in the playoffs next year is at 3 p.m. start, so that would mean it's going to be under the lights by the time it finishes.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to pick up one more, and then we'll go to Mason for the next one. Ty Majeski posted up a response to Matt Weaver, who's a NASCAR journalist. He said, "There's nothing that can prepare you for the Derby. You can come here 4 times in a row and get 4 different tracks." And Ty Majeski says, "I disagree. You can get on iRacing to prepare. The Five Flags Speedway is awesome on there." And so him sticking up for his sponsor, telling this NASCAR journalist, "Hey, what's up?"
Good for him. That's another tip to iRacing, and it even promotes the Five Flag Speedway, even though it's iRacing's right of it. But it's a good shout out to iRacing for it.
Yep. And looking forward to Ty, taking on the iRacing colors in the super late model. Hopefully that'll continue. I don't know if we have a confirmation of that sponsorship yet.
How many different races go on at that Chili Bowl weekend? Like, is there different divisions?
There must be, but I don't know. I think you have to sign up, pay quite a bit of money to actually watch it on the internet. All right, Mason, you got the next one.
Yep, this is a repeat story about the Mission 22 24-hour race at Charlotte in the Cup car. It's at the Oval. Alex Green has this up in iRacing Drivers World. The Mission 22 is a nonprofit who helps to combat the ever-rising veteran suicide rate. So they're doing a race here to benefit Mission 22, and are just looking for drivers and teams to race for 24 hours at the Oval of Charlotte. And that's on February 16th.
All right. Go help them out. All right. And I will, before we get into hardware software, Tifosi Racing is looking for a social media manager and a league manager. If you're interested, please contact Greg Hectus or myself. Setup skills are a major bonus. We still have those positions open, guys. So if you're wanting to get on a team, check us out. All right, let's jump to hardware software. Tony.
Yeah, first up, we got Lucas Oil Racing Package from Ricmatech. And
what a deal. I don't know if it's a deal or not, but it is a neat package.
Save $1,000.
Oh, well, you got to buy 3 then, right? It looks like it's just a stationary setup, but you get... Am I seeing this correct? Like, you get the computer, wheels, pedals, the monitors,
Everything.
Like it's the whole shebang.
That's not bad then. I didn't realize that.
I mean, yeah, like what are that might not be not yeah, it may not be a bad deal after all.
It's okay, Tony. We can't talk about this. It only ships to the U.S.
Okay, never mind. I'll just shut up then.
Yeah, $6,560. So that's quite a bit.
Yeah, curious what that would be if you parted it out, because the wheel is a TSPC Ferrari Thrustmaster wheel, and pedals are the Thrustmaster load cell conversion for their pedals.
My take on this is it's too much money for what it is. It's neat because it's a, turnkey package, you can buy from Ricmotech, but wow, I mean, the price just seems a little high.
Well, if you look at sorry, Mason, if you look at the computer there, I actually thought you might get a little bit more beef in there, but
it's a bare minimum.
I guess it's an i5 processor. They don't say what generation. I know some of those i5s are still really, really good. Then they give you a 1070 graphics card.
But they throw in a brand new set of headphones that round out the package.
Well, and the chassis, I mean, and obviously the chassis must be the bulk of the cost, but it is a nice looking stationary rig. We've talked about it before.
But it's pretty simple, isn't it? Like it's 80/20 with the only thing it looks like that's been manufactured really is that base piece with the angled wheel stand, right?
Yeah, kind of a flare on the wheel stand. And
I honestly think probably is overpriced, but it's a really nice package.
Well, I gotta say something about them headphones. Those are HyperX headphones, and I am actually sporting those right now. They're not very expensive, but they are a very good headset.
How much are they?
I think what I pay $70 or $80 Canadian, so that's like $5 American.
See, they do have even better packages. I don't know if you've ever looked at, if you go into simulation package, they have some better packages in there too.
Yeah, so check it out if you want the Lucas Oil Racing package.
That's the direct drive one. They have a direct drive one.
Yeah, we've talked about them quite a bit. I think they're out of Miami, down where Justin lives, and Justin's actually within driving distance, and they do have a monthly open house. All right, Brett McCoy, you're next. A sim rig review room.
Joe Gibbs Racing went and released their videos and pictures of their sim rig that they use over there at JGR Racing in their shop. Looks to be, I'd hate to use the word standard setup, but I don't think that's a motion rig, correct, Mike?
No, that's a play seat or something.
Yeah, it looks like a play seat.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It is a
kind of wheel that is.
Looks like an Alien Gear computer.
I like the graphics on the seat though.
Yeah, it's the seat is wrapped in Interstate batteries with the Interstate battery underneath the seat. Typical sponsorship plug right there. He's rocking it. They're using a Oculus for a or VR. They're using for their visuals. And the steering wheel. Can you guys see what kind that is?
Yeah, it looks like the Thrustmaster wheel we just talked about, the PC Racer one.
3 lanes, drafting, 3 wide,
Okay.
40 trucks.
It might be a different. That actually might be a different wheel stand than I'm thinking it is. You see the RS on the one part
I've got
there?
my winter boots on because of the snow outside. I've got the winter beard going.
I'm trying to think of what seat that is.
It's going to help me in the
Now, if you look at the second link, there's a video showing the room more as a whole. Kind of neat looking setup. It's almost like a lounge.
Hey, how's it going?
And they got a couple couches and a coffee table, and sim rig is sitting there next to it.
Got a handbrake on it too. Looks like I don't know what kind of shifter that is. Is it Logitech or is that a Thrustmaster shifter?
I don't know. Joe Gibbs Racing, they could probably do a little bit better.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
Okay, who's next? Tony Gross.
Oh.
Do you want me to take this one, Tony, or are you gonna do it?
Yeah, I didn't even look at this one here. This one kind of surprised me, but it is something right up my alley. It's a do-it-yourself PVC handbrake, or sorry, PC handbrake. And this guy is a bloody genius. He's basically fashioned like a tube of some sort and craftily placed it over top of an Xbox controller and got some spring action with just some, I don't know, spring that he
Bungee
pulled
cord.
out of his couch, or bungee cord he stole from his
That's awesome.
trunk. This guy's genius. I love this. This is so awesome. I mean, it looks like absolute trash, but in my eyes, man, as long as it works and it works well, you know, the only thing this guy's missing is some duct tape. He's really got to get that somewhere in his build. Duct tape is, you got to have it. If you don't have it, you might as well just throw it all out.
Should make
Beauty
a
is in the
hand
eyes of the
grip.
beholder.
Yeah, wrap it around that PVC pipe so it doesn't slip out of your hands.
Yeah, hands down, this is probably one of my favorite handbrakes that I've seen so far. This is just it's it is silly, but
Okay, so
it's great.
For the audio listeners, I'm going to describe what this thing looks like. So down on the floor, he's got his Xbox controller kind of wedged into some wood, and so it doesn't move, right? And then he's just got a regular old PVC pipe he just shoved down on top of the left joystick, and he's got it where it's got it where he can just move it forward and backwards to move the joystick, and that's it, right?
Yeah, it's kind of clamped to the side piece of wood there so it doesn't move left and right, it just moves front and back.
But it's effective. If you look at the end of the video, you can see him actually driving with it, and it works.
Oh, yeah.
He's genius. It's great.
And you can control exactly how much you want, just like you would with a normal handbrake.
That's because it's an analog controller too, right? That's a nice part about it.
Yep.
So that's Matt Rogers, the iRacer who built that. Good job, Matt. All right, Brent, what's next?
So Ford Entertainment Group put out a video about the Lenovo VR headset. He says he was actually giving it away for free, and let me pull it up here. It says it works great with iRacing. It's a Lenovo VR headset, and does it say why he's giving it away? If I'm not mistaken.
He's the guy who's always selling computers, and he's just throwing it in as a package kind of thing. But the point is this headset does work on iRacing. I think this is the first time we've had it confirmed. It's really cheap, if you remember.
Yeah, we talked about it before. This is that one. It was on Amazon, I think.
Right. I'm looking up to see how much it is. But yeah, I mean, it's a really cheap VR solution. It works. We have confirmation it works. We got a video of a guy using it. And wow, what do you guys think? Is this the next Oculus Rift?
It's another option at least.
If it works, it works.
Yeah, $141 on Amazon. I mean, 141 bucks. That's cheap. If you want to try VR, I mean, for 141 bucks, why not? Here it is at B&H Photo, under $100, $99.99.
Don't forget, Christmas is coming up. All the wives that listen to the iRacers Lounge podcast.
Yeah, for under 100 bucks, you can get your husband VR. I mean, I would probably try it for 100 bucks.
It looks like it's running really good in this video.
Right. All right, well, check it out. Okay, Greg, you're next. This is for Canada.
Yeah, we were Track Racer. We've been showing a lot of their stuff on here. They've been really going with their new sim seats here, and I guess one of our only simulation retailers here in Canada is now selling them. So you can now get it at Simulation One Systems, You can buy anything track racer from there. They got all their setups there. It looks like the conversion is still whatever it is in US over to Canada. Like it's pretty expensive looking at some of the stuff here on the site, but at least it's another option here in Canada if you want to buy direct from someone here instead of shipping from the States.
Yeah, they're based out of Toronto now, so.
An hour away and 2 hours away from Tony, about an hour and 45 minutes from Tony.
Well, it looks like their RS6 and RS8 cockpits are actually on sale for coming in just under $1,000 Canadian.
Huh. Yeah, they got some fairly good stuff. I mean, it is maybe a little high, but boy, I mean, yeah, if you're wanting to buy local.
I think that's kind of typical for what we see up here price-wise for this kind of thing. They're usually on the higher end.
Like even if, because I know when I was searching for my Fanatic stuff, Sim One Systems also has Fanatic stuff, and it's pretty expensive on here. But it's really hard to ship that stuff if you don't have like large quantities. You don't get a good break on it too, right? To get for some of these dealers.
Yeah. All right, let's keep moving. Mason, another Christmas special.
Yeah, I'm all about these Christmas deals. We got the GT Omega Racing sim company that does some pretty nice chairs and also sim rigs. They have a 40% off special, and you get 40% off on all the accessories. Usually the bigger the item, the less percentage off, but they got their rigs on sale and all their seats, and nice little discount there for Christmas.
They sell those office chairs that kind of look like racing chairs that a lot of people use too.
I like the mouse mats. They look pretty nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, the just the GT Omega wheel stand without the rest of the sim rig. If you're limited on space, that's not a bad deal. $134.
Yeah. Yeah, they sell rigs and everything. So that's GTOmegaRacing.com. All right, I'll take this next one. This one was a post on Facebook to the page known as Heiskenveld. And if you recall, Heiskenveld makes very fancy pedals. And
Hi, everybody.
the owner
Last week we
or the
asked the
namesake
question,
for Heiskenveld
bearings
made
are
a
used
video
instead of Heiskenveld sim pedal
about
springs. And we got all the
bearings
replies,
and how many
and
bearings
only
does he
one of
have
you,
in his pedals.
Ivona
So that was one of
Kurla, if I
the
pronounced that
questions.
correctly,
It was just
had
a little short
11,
video that
and let me
shows the
show you
product,
where they
and
are.
he talks about where the
We
bearings
have
are.
two
I don't know why
bearings
we
on
need
each
to know
pedal arm
that,
here
but
for the main pivot.
it is a rare look at
There's another
these
bearing
videos. They
here
don't
in
do
this
a lot
eye
of
joint,
promotion on this, and
and that's
I've
the same
rarely
goes for the
seen
brake pedal,
information
two
about
here,
them, so
one
I
there.
thought we'd talk about it.
I've already lost count, but let's see
Now,
if we arrive at 11.
question here, because I'm not used to
And on the
these smaller, like those setups where you got to mount them yourself. Do those plug into a box or something? Because they look like what they're like phone connector ends on the end of those. What do they plug into for
I
it?
think there's a little controller box that they plug into, and then you have like USB.
Okay. Does yours like that, or is it one? Like you have
Well,
someone
there's a
like
little
that.
circuit board on mine that kind of combines everything together, and it's one USB goes off of it.
Okay.
So it's probably similar to that, yeah. But yeah, these things you have to mount them yourself. He sells them like loose, like the clutch and the brake and the pedal, the throttle are kind of just loose. They're not like, bolted down. But a lot of people do recommend these pedals. I tell you what, if you go in the forums and look, this Heiskenveld is always near the top of the list. I think they're load cell, they're not hydraulic. And they're like over $1,000 if I remember right.
Oh yeah, they're expensive.
All right, Tony Groves, what's next?
Oh, we have got another rig review, and this is the SimPit Avenger Pro with 202 degrees field of view. It's powered but using two Acer Predator Z650 projectors. I guess they shoot out at 1080p.
Wow, this is awesome.
Yeah, like you, the whole seat and everything sits on like an 80/20 setup, but the screen that is in front of you is absolutely massive, and you've got these like two pillars on either side that help hold up the screen, but they also hold the two projectors in place. And my first thought was like, two projectors, and like how good is this gonna be? And you scroll down, and they actually have a video, not of this setup, but of a similar setup using the same projectors, and it's a helicopter simulator, and the quality is phenomenal. I'm blown away by the quality this thing produces.
There's got to be some good software hardware combination box or something that's taking the two images from the two projectors and somehow splitting them where they blend together perfectly. You know what I mean? You can't just do this without something like that.
Oh no, absolutely not. I mean, it does seem quite complicated, but that's a huge FOV, and if if it replicates anything like that video with the helicopters, I mean, that'd just be phenomenal.
Yeah, they have. If you scroll on down to December 11th, they have a video up. He says it's at low resolution, but it is some laps in an open wheel car, and he went with the black screen in the background so that you could race it during the day because he was having trouble seeing it with the white screen in the background that they were projecting on. So yeah, he has a nice video up there of like the room, and he glances up and to get the light in there as well.
Has anybody noticed too that this is in somebody's garage? It's it's basically taking up probably his whole garage.
Crazy. I mean, I find it interesting that the screen is a black surface, not a white. I didn't know you could project onto a black surface, and I used to work in projection quite a bit, and I'm a little surprised that that works.
Yeah, there is some distorting going on, but like he said, I'm sure with some time you could probably get that figured out.
Yeah, and it's nice having that curved screen without any
No
borders.
seams. No border, no bezels, nothing. And think about the FOV for a minute. Okay, so a full circle is 360 degrees. Half circle is 180. Okay, so like a perfect triple screen monitor, you get like 174 FOV, okay, which is right below 180. This thing, 202. So it goes beyond your peripheral vision. It's so much.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you can get much more immersion without going VR than this setup here.
And if you added a motion rig in the middle of it, I don't know, that'd be crazy. Man, I really love the projector setups. Now, I've always heard there's a delay with projectors more so than there are with monitors. Would you guys be concerned about that, delay?
Yeah, that delay would have me worried because everything happens so quick in this sport here.
Yeah.
And projectors are known to delay. And maybe these are great projectors, I don't know.
Wish I could zoom in here and see that. I'm trying to see what wheel he has there.
He's got an emergency stop button for it over on the right, so it must be a DD.
Is it the Fanatec rim?
That's what I'm thinking it is, but I can't remember. I gotta look it up.
That's pretty cool rig, man. And let's give some credit. This is Shin Thananthakul, I probably butchered that, from Australia. And thank you, Shin, for sharing your incredible 2-projector setup, man. That is just blows me away. All right, let's get into final thoughts here. Brett McCoy.
Yeah, not a whole lot going on in the off season. We've got I just got my new equipment this past week or two that I've been working on, the CSL Elite, some Fanatec gear and all that. So getting finally situated with all that. Also getting for the 2019 season for the team here, getting the iPitting board up to date and scheduled. The Class A series is now on there now that it's 2019. So if you guys haven't yet, check that out. That's ipittingboard.com.
Okay, cool. Greg Hectus, final thought.
Just once again, gonna promote my Twitch page, Frozen Cactus. So twitch.tv/Frozen Cactus, Frozen with 2 O's, Cactus with 2 K's. You can watch me 2 times a week now. I guess we'll be in the Old Bastard Racing League. I'll have Monday nights and Wednesday nights. ARCA for Monday nights and the Truck Series on Wednesday nights, racing with Tony and Chris, and looks like Justin's joined us too. I don't know if Mike's if you're gonna try and get out on Wednesday nights with us, but I look forward to racing with everybody. The guys were great, and we'll go at it next week.
All right, very good. Mason Stiver, final thought.
Yeah, I've been running Chicagoland here with the Cup car and messing around with the setup, trying to get something that goes good. I guess I've gotten enough iRacing to get into the upper splits and getting my butt handed to me. So working on not having that happen longer.
All right, come join us. Tony Groves, final thought.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to say this week for my final thoughts, except that, well, I guess I got to do some shameless plugging as well. I've started streaming. Right now, it's pretty much just with the Old Bastards Racing League, but anybody that wants to come and watch my silliness that I do, and maybe watch Greg smack into a wall or two, you can find me at twitch.tv /Sir Groves, and that's Groves with 1 O, and there is no K's in that name.
All right. And don't forget, teammate David Hall is also streaming. He's on YouTube. His name is Band Man, and he streams a ton of IMSA stuff. And so check him out. He's fun to watch. My final thought is I did a project yesterday. I decided to take my subwoofer out of the living room and move it into the office. And I did that. And I had to go buy a wire from Target and everything to make it work. And I got it up and running. And wow, game changer, guys. I can't believe it. Now, my sound setup is I have powered speakers left and right. I have the engine coming out of those. All communication is through the headset. I got TeamSpeak, in-game chat, and Spotter are in the headset. But the engine comes out of the speakers. And by adding a $500 12-inch powered subwoofer to the mix, and it's sitting right behind my seat, unbelievable how much, when I turn that thing up, it feels like a real engine. It feels like I'm in a real race car, because when I hit that throttle, the room is shaking, man. It's like a real engine in here. And I couldn't believe the immersion difference. And so I ran a Talladega C fix today, and I'm in a big pack of trucks, and we're going full speed, and the whole room is just resonating with this low bass from the engine. And I was just shocked. Man, if you guys can add a big O sound system to your setup, I definitely recommend it.
His wife wasn't home.
Yeah, the caveat there. And so I won't be able to run the sub when she actually sleeps right above my office. Our bedroom is above, and so I don't know how it's going to work. We're probably going to try it tonight and see if I can wake her up. So with that, we'll see you later.
User in your channel.
Later, guys. Thanks for watching.